Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today. Hello and very warm welcome to everyone joining us. Good morning, good afternoon, and also good evening, depending on where are you in the world. And welcome to today's webinar on the introduction of collaborative research. I'll just turn on the slides. Okay. Yes. So my name is Tenten, and I'm the Network Engagement Specialist, and I'm pleased to be moderating this webinar on behalf of the Climate Technology Center and Network Secretariat. We are delighted to have such a diverse group here today, including some of the national designated entities and also the CTCN network members. We also have here the team from NIGT who is working as a technical support today during the webinar. Today, the agenda will go as follows. We will start first with the welcome remarks from our director, followed by some insights from the UNFCCC Secretariat. Then I will hand it over to our CTCN colleagues that will introduce our approach to collaborative research development and demonstration. And you will then also hear some of the regional examples that will be presented by our technical assistance colleagues. After that, we will move on to a live Q&A session, and we will then have closing remarks from our chair. But before we dive into this agenda, I'll just share a few practical details. So as I mentioned, we will have the Q&A sessions where you will be invited to ask any questions that you'll have. So you can save the questions for the live Q&A, or you also, of course, are welcome to drop your questions in the chat, and we'll review them and address them during the live Q&A. Ideally, it would be great if you could also mention who your question is addressed to, so then we can answer it more efficiently, or if the question is open to any of our speakers. And one more thing, as we have different regions joining here today, we also have the function for live translation subtitles. So you can also turn on in your settings live captions, and then you can also pick a language that you would like it to translate to. And this is to also include any of different languages into the webinar. However, the full webinar will be conducted in English. So I think that's all from my side. And now, yes, just then how you're able to turn on the live captions. If you go to more, and then there's a section called language and speech, then show live captions will pop up. So you can click on that, and then you can go to the setting wheel where you can pick the language that you would like it to translate to if you don't want to have English captions. But without further ado, now I'm happy to hand over to and welcome our director, Arya Ningrum, to provide her welcome remarks.
Thank you very much, Tantan. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our distinguished participants joining us from around the world. On behalf of the Climate Technology Center and Network, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to this webinar on collaborative research development and demonstrations, or collaborative RD&D as we call it. Today's sessions brings together expert innovators and policymakers united by a shared goal, accelerating technology solutions through cooperation and knowledge exchange. The concept of the collaborative RD&D at CTCN encompasses a range of activities: research, development, demonstration of climate technologies, and carry out through mutually beneficial collaboration between technology providers and technology users. At its core, it aims to strengthen national system of innovation and build the endogenous capacity of developing countries. So our main objective through cRD&D is to systematically support developing countries in responding to climate change while promoting sustainable technology development and transfer. We do this by encouraging cooperation among stakeholders, governments, research institutions, private sector, and communities, ensuring that knowledge and technology flow both ways. This approach supports not only the transfer and the demonstration of technologies, but also the sharing of expertise and the creation of locally adapted solutions that endure. The idea of collaborative RD&D is not new. Since 2007, the UNFCCC has recognized it as a powerful approach to innovation, and technology framework adopted by parties of UNFCCC in 2018 reaffirmed its importance in enabling developing countries to participate more effectively in the global innovation ecosystems. In CTCN's third program of work, launched in 2023, the National System of Innovation was identified as one of the two key enablers for system transformation, emphasizing that effective climate technology deployment must be underpinned by collaborative research and innovations. And since 2022, our Partnership and Liaison Office in Songdo has served as a center of excellence for collaborative RD&D, initially focusing on the Asia and Pacific region. Through joint projects, workshops, and capacity building initiatives, we have piloted new forms of cooperation that brings together national expertise and international partners. Over the past 2 years, we have seen encouraging results. Through our technical assistance projects, CTCN has supported the development of ocean energy in Papua New Guinea and solar-powered cold storage system in Bangladesh. And we will also support biochar production in Cote d'Ivoire and innovative desalination technologies in Uzbekistan. We have also convened learning visits and workshops on green hydrogen and energy storage, helping countries explore pathways to cleaner and more resilient futures. These experiences show that when we invest in collaboration, we multiply our impact. Each project becomes not only a demonstration of technology, but also a platform for a shared learning, for building trust, and for fostering innovation networks that will continue long after the project has been completed. Today's webinar marked another important step in expanding the scope of collaborative RD&D globally. I hope our discussions will inspire new partnerships and ideas that can translate ambition into action, action that support national priorities, strengthens local innovation system, and accelerates the transitions to low carbon and climate resilient world. I thank you once again for joining us, and I wish you an engaging and productive discussion. Thank you, and over back to you, Tantan.
Thank you very much, Ariesta. So now we will hear from Ms. Bava Dungana, a team lead at the technology subdivision at UNFCCC, who will share tech's perspective and their approach to collaborative RD&D. Over to you, Bava.
Great. Thanks a lot. And thank you very much for this invitation to join this webinar today. Just to give a little bit of a background on the UNFCCC's Technology Executive Committee, it is an expert group that was set up, and it is made up of members from both developed and developing country representatives, and they provide key policy recommendations to the Conference of the Parties on various topics on climate technologies, including on RD&D. So with that short introduction, next slide, please. So the tech has a rolling work plan that will go until the end of 2027. And it has 4 different work streams, and I will focus on the work stream related to this topic. So work stream 1 is actually on national systems of innovation, collaborative RD&D, and also on general purpose technologies. And one of the key expectations from this work stream is to have support enabling policies to incentivize and nurture supportive environment for technology innovation and innovative climate solutions. So within this area on RD&D, the Technology Executive Committee has been looking at this work. It is part of their long-running continuous area of work on this topic. And one of their activities has been to analyze the needs for RD&D for high impact emission reduction technologies to help countries implement their NDCs and other mitigation strategies and ensure long-term environmental sustainable energy supply. So when the tech started its work plan back in 2023, what they had done was they conducted a survey on the future needs. And then this survey actually then started feeding into this analysis that they need to do, that they will be doing. And in 2024, based on the results of the survey, which I will go into a little bit, they agreed that they would focus on the RD&D on energy storage, and then they will develop a knowledge product, so a policy analysis by 2027 on this topic. Next slide, please. So just to go a little bit into that survey itself. So here, this survey was conducted. There was a wide range of participants, which they came from the public sector, various industry, research, NGOs, startup, financing and investors, private sector, and also media as well. And as you can see here on the slide, this survey, we got feedback from almost every continent, and altogether there were 59 countries that provided feedback. We got quite a lot of feedback from the European region, but also you can see a lot of other countries in both Africa, Latin America, Asian Pacific, as well as North and South Americas. Next slide, please. So from this survey, what we did see is that we looked at what are the key needs and what were also the roadblocks that countries are seeing. So in terms of needs, we did see that energy storage, industrial processes, clean energy generation, low carbon fuels, carbon capture, utilization, and storage, also known as CCUS, and also carbon dioxide removal, CDR, were seen as some of their key needs. Then when we looked at the results from both a developed and developing country perspectives and zoning in on the aspects of energy, we see that energy storage is one of the highest needs of both developed and developing countries, followed by energy systems integration, resilience energy systems, and energy transport and transmissions. In terms of barriers, what the respondents to the survey highlighted was that legislation, political support, bureaucracy, and demand were some of the barriers that were seen in this survey. Next slide, please. So taking all of that into consideration and looking at what should be the needs, the tech decided that they would develop a policy brief, which will be titled Accelerating the Deployment of Energy Storage to Advance Clean Energy Transition. And it will look at the critical role of energy storage in renewable energy integration. What are some of the technological solutions as well as case studies from different regions? What has been enabling policies that has allowed for their adoption? And then also to look at how does energy storage come out in the NDCs and the nationally determined contributions, also known as NDCs, and other policy frameworks. So based on that analysis, as I mentioned earlier, the tech develops usual key messages and policy recommendations. Then these would then pull together and developed for the parties to have as key recommendations coming out of the tech. So all of this would be done by 2027. We are collaborating with a few partners on this to develop this policy analysis. And then the final slide that I have, and just to highlight here, when we look at what energy storage would be, we are looking at it from both a duration and an application perspective. In terms of duration, we will have short-term duration storage technologies, which range from half an hour to 4 hours, which supports daily renewable energy integration. Then also looking at medium duration storage technology, what would balance both grid operations over longer-term frameworks and long duration storage technologies. So this would be for over 10 hours that allows for seasonal energy storage and off-grid resilience and changes in that. Then in terms of applications, we would also look at both, we'd be looking at electrochemical storage, mechanical storage, thermomechanical storage, thermal energy storage, and chemical storage as well. So these are some of the different applications that we are going to be looking at. We will be participating with, like I mentioned, some different research institutes, and actually as one we look very much we look forward to hearing some of the discussions in this topic in this webinar, and the tech will also be planning one in early next year on this topic to gain some insights as well. So I will end my presentation here. Thank you very much, and I look forward to any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Bava, very much. And we'll now move to the CTCN perspective on cRD&D. So now I would like to invite Mr. Suli Kang, who will introduce our approach and the current initiatives under the collaborative RD&D. Over to you, Suil.
Okay, thank you, Tantan. Hi, everyone. At the first part, I will introduce cRD&D events and engagement from 2022-2025. This is a background slide. So actually, CTCN has a mandate on cRD&D. And for example, if you look at the paragraph 5, Article 10 of Paris Agreement, it is mentioning collaborative approaches to research and development for the innovation, and also innovation part under the technology framework, also mentioning fostering innovation could be done through new collaborative approaches to climate technology research, development, and demonstration. So you can see some proposed actions for the innovation part. As Ariesta mentioned already, Palo Partnership and Liaison Office in Songdo was launched on 21st July 2022. Now it is 3 years and 4 months now, and then it serves as the center of excellence for cRD&D. And in November 2022, Palo developed also concept note on cRD&D. And at the later part, I will also introduce cRD&D strategic framework for CTCN from 2025 to 2030, which was decided in April 2025. And this slide shows kind of concept of cRD&D, collaborative approach in RD&D. Here, on the left side, there is one country. We have a RD&D system and international RD&D system. So as you know, the researchers and professors or research institute, public and private sector can be the actors for the such cRD&D with the partners. And in this case, NDE can be play a role as a bridge builder for to research partners. Yeah, and then also in this activity, two partners can be, we can consider it as a twinning arrangement. Next slide, please. Okay, so in 2023, Palo also conducted 5 cRD&D global webinars for the 5 key transformation areas. So you can see the programs of each webinar here, and then also we produced for post blog. You can visit this site. Actually, at the time, as you can see in the, for example, webinar 1, WF Nexus, we focus on ASEAN, Pacific, and Africa. We, based on the needs from those regions, we targeted the audience for those specific topics. Next one, please. Okay, one of the program I implemented under the cRD&D is a learning visit on green hydrogen production in 2024. At the time, we collaborated with 2 Korean research government-affiliated research institute and also 1 government institute for the hydrogen safety test and support center. Okay, next one, please. Again, in 2025, the topic was a little bit expanded to green hydrogen production and fuel cell. Also, this time we also collaborated with 2 Korean government-funded research institute and then 1 East-West power company. Okay. Also, you can get all the information from the QR code. And also another activity is we call it cRD&D bridge building, CRD to be to workshop. The objective to shows like climate technologies from Korean Research Institute, and then also develop matchmaking activity, and then develop CTCN TA ideas. So in 2024, we had a 5 days workshop, and then, yeah, next one, please. You can see like we, at the time, invited 21 participants globally. Yeah, and then there was some dialogue for the joint RD&D on green hydrogen. And also there was a 31 bilateral meetings for the matchmaking and collaboration dialogue. Next one, please. This slide shows from now on, I'll explain there was some change in our practice to identify target countries. So in January 2025, we did a survey to globally to NDs. At the time, we introduced 3 modules under the capacity building and also the cRD&D. As you can see in the module 1, this is about Global Somatic Capacity Building Program. And second module is the Network Engagement Program. And third one is Collaborative RD&D Program. So during survey, we introduced all the programs, and then we asked NDs to choose any programs they want to participate in 2025. Okay, next one, please. So, for example, for the module 3, we also, this slide shows the result of the module 3, cRD&D activities, especially the learning visit and cRD2B2 workshop. And actually the key message, I mean, I want to share with you is that this year also we will do the same. I mean, in January 2026, we'll again do such participation survey to NDs. Next one, please. This slide shows the result of the survey in the Asia and Pacific regions. So, yeah, based on this survey, we selected target countries, yeah, for the learning visit and cRD2B2 workshop in this year. Next one, please. Yeah, this slide shows the survey result from Africa NDs. Okay, next one, please. Okay, this slide shows the survey result from NDs of LAC. Yeah. So based on this, we also invited several NDs from LAC region. Next one, please. Okay, based on the survey result, we also conducted again the cRD2B2 workshop this year in August in Busan, Korea, in conjunction with World Climate Technology Expo. And at that time, we invited 6 ND representative globally. And also specifically the topic was the energy storage system. We try to keep the same pace or topic with the tech as Baba presented. So that's why we selected the topic as the energy storage. Yeah, next one, please. Yeah, this slide shows specifically the cRD&D session on accelerating deployment of energy storage, which were co-hosted by TEC and CTCN. Yeah, next one, please. Okay, I'll move on to the another activity for of piloting cRD&D technical assistance project. To identify needs for the cRD&D TA project, experimentally, we organized steering group for cRD&D in 2023. This time we CTCN secretariat members, and also we invited, you can see 6 Korean government affiliated research institute. I call it KGRIs. So we organized the steering group to identify the needs from researchers in those KGRIs. Next one, please. Okay, so we had the first virtual meeting in June, and then we had a second virtual meeting in October in 2024. Yeah, next one, please. Okay, I'll skip this one. Thank you. Next one, please. Okay, so based on such operation of a steering group And we identified like 4 potential cRD&D project. So we have 2 like kind of tracks. First one is CTCN support for pre-feasibility for small scale demonstration. So as you can see, the KIER is the implementing partner, and then you can see the duration of the project. Actually, it will be ended this December, and you can see the body size is almost 250 $250,000. So this is the target country is Papua New Guinea, and then it is pre-feasibility study on ocean technology, ocean energy, focusing on salinity gradient energy technology and electrochemical OTEC energy thermal ocean thermal energy conversion. The coming one is in Uzbekistan. So it is also pre-feasibility study for groundwater desalination and resource recovery. So the implementing partner is Kitech. It is working with the industrial technology. So yeah, next one, please. The second track under the cRD&D is the CTCN support for feasibility toward like RD&D activities. So we also selected Bangladesh TA case. It was already like submitted by ND of Bangladesh. It is about solar electric based cold water warehouse equipped with cold storage system. Okay, so Kitech is also the implementing partner, and then we try to complete the contract within this year. It is on the implementation until February 2026, and then Baruman is second case. We are also trying to finish the contract with CARE Energy Research Institute. For the Cote d'Ivoire TA, it is about biochar technology. Okay, thank you. I'll move on to next part. Okay, I'll briefly introduce the newly established cloud cRD&D strategy framework for CTCN. It is from this year until 2030. Okay, so object, like I think that those are already mentioned by Ariesta. So especially if you look at the last like bullet point, cRD&D involves here in the strategic framework multiple countries or regions jointly conducting or funding RD&D activities spanning the technology life cycle from research, it is TRL1 to demonstration TRL7. That could be a key point of the strategic framework. Okay, this slide shows like activities during like 6 years, like yes. So like from the joint development of project and until it also covers tailored support strategy, also funding, how we'll prepare funding for that, and then project management, and also finally the knowledge sharing and path building under the strategic framework. Yeah, actually this slide shows like how we really consider, implement or identify specific activities under the proposed cRD&D strategic framework. Okay, so the as I presented, the current modality we are using is technical assurance request modality. So if you look at the left side, like ND as a bridge builder, they really identify researchers or professors or public and private sector research groups, which has RD&D ideas. So they will be a proponent, and then ND will pick up those ideas as bridge builder, and even they can get ideas from line ministries, and then they request to CTCN TA support, and then there will be like international bidding, and as you know, the states and NECO members can be an implementing partner, and then research institute or academia really can be the potential implementing partner. Yeah. Next one, please. Okay, I'll conclude, introduce some parts for the future. I mean, what we will do within remaining months in 2025, and then based on such a strategic framework, what we will do in 2026. As you saw, like the time when the strategic framework was established was in April 2025, and then actually the parallel work plan was established already in earlier than the strategic framework. That's why like we really like should like implement those activities proposed in the work plan. So that's why we had no time really to identify like appropriate actions under the strategic framework. So as you can see, the blue character shows activities within this year, remaining months in this year. So today we have a webinar, and then it is led by capacity and network engagement team. And also we will have a virtual steering group meeting in November. And also we will share several like policy result from those Korean GRIs. And also from the 1st to 5th December, we'll have a CSND forum in Brisbane, Australia. So at the time, we will ask ND of Australia to share the cRD and the activities in Australia with other surrounding Pacific countries. And then yeah, also we will try to identify needs from Cs NDs on the cRD&D. And then black characters are for next years. As I mentioned earlier, like we'll have again global ND participation survey for 2026. Based on that, yeah, we will identify target countries, and also again we will implement learning based on green hydrogen production and fuel cell, also cRD2 workshop on energy strategy, and hopefully like at the same time learning based on energy storage. And also for the CTCN TA part, we will complete PNG and Bangladesh TAs, and also we'll implement Cote d'Ivoire and Uzbekistan TAs, and then there is one more potential one is for Thailand case for green hydrogen. Also, according to the strategic framework, we will try to identify what kind of activity we can develop considering the plans in the strategic framework, and then we are now trying to how we can harmonize CTCN modality with the strategic framework. Next one, please. Okay, I think this is my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Will, for your comprehensive presentation. So now we will move to the next item on the agenda, where we will dive deeper into the regional examples of the cRD&D activities that we have conducted. And we will have the technical assistance colleagues here. So Hoyoung and Nadesh, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, it is so nice to meet you all. My name is Ho Young. I'm working as the Climate Technology Specialist at the CTCN, responsible for technical assistance in Asia and the Pacific. Without further ado, for our esteemed participants, I want to introduce a TA project in Bangladesh titled Feasibility Study on Solar Electric-Based Cold Storage Solutions Utilizing Low-Temperature Latent Heat Materials for Fruit Preservation in Bangladesh Climatic Conditions. The agricultural sector in Bangladesh faces considerable post-harvest losses, with nearly 40% of perishable produce adversely affected by inadequate cold storage infrastructure in rural areas. This TA aims to develop a sustainable and solar-powered cold storage solution that addresses the challenges posed by Bangladesh's hot and humid climate. The project investigates solar electric cold storage facilities that incorporate low-temperature latent heat storage materials, enabling the maintenance of requisite low temperatures even during power outages. Emphasis will be placed on the design, testing, and evaluation of the technical and economic viability of these cold storage systems to support smallholder farmers in Bangladesh. By implementing a portable and decentralized cold storage model, this project endeavor aspires to mitigate food waste, enhance food security, and enhance resilience against climate change within rural food value chains. Furthermore, this project intends to formulate a business model and investment strategy that will facilitate future demonstration projects and scalability in partnership with national stakeholders, aligning with the country's national adaptation plan and renewable energy policies. In the next slide, I want to walk you through a TA project in Papua New Guinea titled Pre-Feasibility Assessment of Ocean Energy, focusing on salinity gradient power technology and electrochemical ocean thermal energy conversion. PNG is undertaking efforts to diversify its energy portfolio beyond fossil fuels in accordance with its national energy policy for 2018 to 2028 and commitments under the Paris Agreement. Nonetheless, the nation faces challenges related to the availability of technical data, local expertise, and a comprehensive policy framework regarding ocean energy technologies. CTCN TA project conducts a pre-feasibility study to evaluate two innovative ocean energy technologies, salinity gradient power, which capitalizes on the differences in salinity between seawater and freshwater, and electrochemical ocean thermal energy conversion. So this project includes lab-scale installations and capacity building activities at the University of PNG, located in Port Moresby, aimed at enhancing local expertise. Preliminary outcomes comprise the monitoring of seawater temperatures, the conceptual design of megawatt hour scale energy storage systems, and the preparatory work for pilot scale reverse electrodialysis experiments. Ultimately, this TA establishes a foundation for the country for Papua New Guinea's inaugural ocean energy pilot project, positioning the nation as a pioneer in marine renewable energy within the Pacific region. Moreover, the project encourages both South-South and North-South collaborations with support from the Korean research institutions, Korea Institute of Energy Research, an implementing partner of this TA, to facilitate capacity development and future demonstration planning. This is all from my side, and I want to hand over to my colleague, Nadej. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will move to Maldives. Maldives has been a project implemented in, as part of AFCIA 1. AFCIA is one of the biggest programs we have on adaptation. It is funded by the Adaptation Fund. It started with a first edition of 5 million, and which is closing today, actually. And we are transitioning towards AFCIA 2. At the moment, it will be a 10 million program. Maldives was one of the TA that was implemented as part of this AFCIA 1 program. And the way it was implemented was the government contacted us because they had a big problem. Maldives imports 90% of its food, and the very low quantity that is produced on the ground is threatened by the sea level rise, right? So they are facing a very critical, very dangerous situation. So the country contacted us to ask whether we could we could try to find a technology that would prevent this seawater intrusion. And so we focused in one of the island of Maldives, an island that has agricultural lands, and we piloted this drainage system. So let's imagine big pipes on the ground that prevent the intrusion of sea water intrusion, and make sure that the farmers can irrigate their lands using drinkable water. And now this project is being scaled up, hopefully through a concept note that is about to be submitted to the Adaptation Fund for a 5 million leverage in funding. And the objective of this scale up phase would be to integrate a monitoring system of the water balance in the island to make sure that whenever the level of the water in the groundwater is too low to be used for irrigation, the farmers will receive an alert from the government, and they will start using then their rainwater harvesting system that will also be implemented through this scale-up project. So this is an interesting initiative that has been implemented. Can I please move to the next slide? Thank you very much. This is another project in Nigeria where we also piloted the technology. The context is very different. This project was implemented through a program funded by the European Commission. And this program was on climate change and security. And through this program, we had to work in countries, in prone conflict countries, so in countries that are suffering or have suffered or could reach a point where they enter into conflict, and to work at community level. An interesting point about this project in Nigeria is that it was done based on a soft collaboration. So it was a community of Kaduna State that contacted us, and the project was implemented through an NGO based in Nigeria as well. The context of this community is also very, very specific. They are threatened by a terrorist group. So the farmers that were living in this community could not access their land anymore because they were too afraid of being killed on the way. So they were looking for solutions to continue producing their own food so that they would be completely independent without having to leave the village. Because this was a risk for their lives. So what we had a lot of stakeholder consultations with this community to understand what was their usual cooking habits, what was their usual food composition, etc. And we reached the point where an hydroponic system completely built with materials available in Nigeria could be a good option. So the project was piloted, and actually it's quite a success. The farmers are producing more than what they can consume. So they are reaching out to other donors, such as GRZ, for example, as well as the CTCN, to see if we can support them in creating an exit strategy, which what they have in mind would be to start with cold storage, so that they can make sure that they don't and they also, at a longer term, they would like to have their own branding with a small community that could lead to a marketplace where they can sell their vegetables that they don't need to leave, and have a branding image of being the first hydroponic system in the region, at least, and thinking more ahead of that, they are also thinking of why not creating some kind of master in the universities, so that youth people can also learn how to build, how to operate these kind of systems that are quite easy to create, quite independent, autonomous, and that could really change the impact of a life of different communities in Nigeria. So this is another project that is quite interesting. There is a video. Would we like to play the video now? Yeah. But this one is on Cameroon. It's not Nigeria, but that should be okay. At Cameroon is also a project on farmers and agriculture. So.
Même en saison sèche, nous pouvons mener des cultures. C'est ça la bienvenue. On peut cultiver, produire, vendre. Est-ce qu'il y a mieux que ça? Il n'y a pas mieux que ça, ma fille.
In northern Cameroon, a modern farming method that mimics nature is turning arid land into year-round abundance.
Nous avons une jeunesse dynamique, une population dynamique, mais hélas, on a le problème d'eau. Ils ont compris la nécessité de la synécoculture.
In the heat of climate change, communities face prolonged droughts. Monoculture has left soils exhausted, and 70% of households in northern Cameroon suffer from food insecurity. But here in Feguil and Garua too, 500 young students and women farmers are at the forefront of this agricultural shift.
En effet, le sol doit être totalement couvert. Voilà comment se présente un champ fait selon la technique de la synécoculture. Vous comprenez? Très bien.
Synecoculture transforms fallow land into vibrant year-round polycultures. Layered root systems capture and share every drop of water. Deep-rooted trees draw in moisture to nourish shallow-root vegetables beneath their shade, slowing evaporation and regenerating soil.
On a cultivé tout ça dans un même champ et tout a réussi. C'est ça la différence.
Dans la monoculture, dès que vous sémez, vous récoltez, vous attendez la prochaine saison. En synécoculture, c'est tout au long de l'année. On récolte, on ressème. Dans des endroits secs, sur des terres fendillées, nous avons réussi a fait pousser des plantes là-dessus. C'est plus qu'une philosophie. Nous utilisons la nature comme exemple.
Il n'y a pas de mauvaises herbes à cette culture. Il n'y a pas. Dans la silviculture, toute plante a besoin de l'autre pour une bonne réussite.
Culture rejects toxic chemicals, relying on natural fertilizers, trap crops, and companion plants to control pests. This abundance of diverse organic produce means better health and higher income all year round.
C'est bénéfique pour la femme spécifiquement. Pourquoi? Parce que l'homme ne s'intéresse même pas aux légumes. Dit que ça, ce sont les affaires des femmes. Mais nous vendons les légumes. L'argent, c'est pour nous, ce n'est même plus pour l'homme. Alors nous pouvons donc gérer notre argent.
Quand on commençait, les gens croyaient qu'on venait ici pour s'amuser. Et maintenant, quand on ramène les feuilles à la maison, le quartier est content. Depuis quelques temps là, on n'achète plus les feuilles au marché. On a beaucoup vendu et on a beaucoup mangé.
Les femmes sont prêtes à se lancer là-dedans et puis ça pourra réduire la dépendance aux conditions climatiques et réduire la vulnérabilité afin d'augmenter la résilience des populations.
On s'est dit, allons, essayons et nous verrons. Mais non, nous sommes venus, nous avons essayé et nous avons vu que c'est rentable. Avec ça, nous aussi, nous allons évoluer. Pourquoi pas? On ne peut pas laisser ça.
Every fraction of a degree matters.
Thank you very much for this video. We are now moving to another region, which is the LAC region, Latin America and Caribbean, where we developed a project in Colombia to restore mangroves. This project was also implemented through the EU-funded program Climate Change and Security, and it was also implemented through a soft collaboration. In that case, the community that we supported was in El Cuerval in Colombia. It's based in Cauca, and Cauca is one of the region which is at higher risk in Colombia, risk of insecurity. And the project was implemented by a company based in Costa Rica. It was a very interesting because the community we worked in is a very isolated community. They live in an isolated manner, alone, and we had to receive the permission from the national institutions as well as the community to access the ground and work with them in restoring these mangroves, mainly with women. I think it has been the process has been quite successful. What was done was analyzing what was the status of the mangrove at this stage, or what was the rate of deforestation, the hotspots of the mangroves of the community. Then there were discussions and training around what kind of project could be implemented, what would be the most beneficial for them, what were according to the hotspots the most urgent to be renovated according to the life of the community, etc. And then we worked with the community in restoring these mangroves. The youth were also involved in this process to make sure that it's a generational transfer of knowledge. And we believe that the project has also been quite successful. I see there is also a video on this project. I don't know if you would like to play it. Yes, thank you.
El viento se nos llevó la mitad de la casa y pues cuando ya salimos que esto y vimos que está la casa toda destapada, uno no sabe qué hacer. Los cambios climáticos vienen y nosotros no nos damos cuenta. Los manglares es la única protección que tenemos, no tenemos otra.
On Colombia's Pacific coast, mangroves are life. They shield homes from storms and sustain families through seafood harvesting. The mangroves store more carbon than most forests and are a home to 128 bird species. Yet in just 40 years, Colombia has lost 14% of its mangroves. Nearly 50,000 hectares stripped away by deforestation, stronger storms, and unsustainable practices, leaving shores eroded, waves advancing, and people exposed.
Si no hay mangle por las partes, no hay pescado, no hay el camarón, no hay la piangua ni el cangrejo. Ahora como ya lo están tumbando, ya siempre no es lo mismo el manglar.
Mining wastes, farm chemicals, and illegal coconut plantations are choking the mangroves, threatening the fish and clams the communities depend on. For generations, women have harvested clams by hand, but now outsiders are disrupting this balance.
Tenemos una problemática que es la extracción de piangua, que la hacen con un petróleo que la piangua se ve obligada a salir, y eso está afectando nuestros manglares y todo nuestro ecosistema.
Esa es una de las amenazas que tenemos. Vea los motores cómo suenan. Ahí van agarrando el pescadito, van agarrando todo. Eso tiene caspid.
Here, in El Cuerval, a new tide is rising. Through a community-led project called Sustainable Cuerval, 2,700 hectares of mangroves are being protected. The community is restoring degraded areas, planting mangrove seedlings in bare soil, clearing invasive plants, and reopening channels so tidal waters return.
El proyecto nos está dando capacidad local instalada, que permite que la gente pueda hacer actividades de conservación independiente de que venga gente de afuera a ayudarnos a hacerlas. Eso es lo más importante.
Strengthened by drones, satellite mapping, and community monitoring, the technology reveals where mangroves thin, water stall, or harvesting weighs too heavily. This gives residents foresight to act and adapt while sustaining their livelihoods.
Los manglares nos dan la resistencia para afrontar todos estos cambios climáticos que se dan en nuestro territorio.
Nosotros estamos en una especie de recuperación de nuestro manglar, de nuestra vida, pues para allá, para nuestros renacientes.
Todos los árboles que están ahí al frente son manglares. Allá encontramos la piangua, encontramos...
Education is central. Youth are learning to harvest wisely, taking only mature clams, fishing in permitted waters, and catching larger fish. With resources managed fairly and families united, conflict over scarcity gives way to peace and cooperation. With the project Reshaping Community Life, women are leading the way.
Nuestras mujeres son muy tímidas y con el proyecto son más expresivas, y eso es muy importante, porque somos las que sostenemos la familia y el hogar y nuestro ecosistema.
From roots that anchor the soil and cradle fish to branches that shelter birds and families, the mangroves hold the coast and the communities together. By restoring them, the forest's resilience becomes their own.
Para nosotros el manglar es vida, es todo para nosotros el manglar. Por eso es que nosotros queremos proteger nuestro manglar.
Every fraction of a degree matters.
Nadesh, you're muted. Can you unmute yourself?
Thank you, sorry. Yes, thank you very much. So thank you very much for these videos. We are now moving to Eastern Europe, to Georgia. This project was implemented under ATSIA, so the first program, the Salmon Maldives, that we talked before. And in this case, it was implemented in a natural protected area that suffered a very large forest fire in 2018. And because this natural park is very important for biodiversity of the region and of the country, we decided to request support to the CTCN to implement an early warning system for forest fire, which is actually a request that we are receiving more and more. We have received the same kind of requests from Haiti. We have received the same kind of requests from Bolivia. We are starting to receive more and more of this request of how do we monitor the risk of forest fires. And in that case, we helped the community living in the national park, which of course is a small community, to to install the system, both the cameras on the ground, but as well the monitoring system, the digital platform that enables to receive the images and to calculate the risk of forest fires in the region. There were also trainings that were made both to the operator of the system as well as the users of the system, users meaning the families, but also the firemen of the region. And this project is trying to leverage additional funding so that they can cover a larger area of the park. I think we can move to the next slide. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nadesh and Hoyoung, for the great TA examples. And now we will officially open the floor to the questions and the discussions. So please feel free to raise your hand if you have any question. And let us know if you have any, if you know who you would like to ask. In the meantime, I'll check the Q&A chat as well. So I don't see any raised hands yet, but we have one question from Emmanuel to Nadesh. And the question is that I wish to understand how the project submission process works when the funding is from the European Union or Adaptation Fund.
Yes, so the process is more or less the same. You don't have to worry about which fund will be used for your project. The process is the same. You, if you have an idea that you think will have an impact on climate, the CTCN is mandated to work on climate change. So if you think that the project you have in mind, either should it be adaptation or mitigation project, could have an impact on climate as well as, of course, on the population, on the communities, on women and youth, etc., that it can create a paradigm shift, then you should approach your NDE. Most of the countries, not each of them, not all of them, but most of the countries have a national designated entity, which is the focal point of the CTCN, and this information is public. It can be directly found in CTCN webpage. And the objective would be for you to connect with this NDE and to explain your idea. The role of the NDE will be to make sure that your project, your idea, is aligned with the country's strategies in terms of climate change, meaning that your project is aligned with the national determined contributions, for example, or the technology needs assessment, for example, or the national adaptation plan, for example, or any other national strategies that your countries would have endorsed. And if it is the case, if the NDE agrees that your project could have an impact on climate change, that your project is aligned with the strategies of the countries, then you will submit a request to us signed by the NDE. And there is when the process starts. So the CTCN receives the signed request by the NDE, and we start the screening process, meaning we start to review the project according to our prioritization and selection criteria. We have 2 weeks to do so. And then after these 2 weeks, we submit the approval or non-approval of the project. And if the project is approved, then we move to the next stage, which is the definition of what we call internally a response plan, what could be the term of references of the project, meaning we are really entering into the details of what activities, what deliverables, what results are we expecting to achieve through the implementation of this project. The project, according to the CTCN, have an average timeline of 15 to 20 months, let's say, and the maximum budget that we can allocate to a project has been recently increased from $250,000 to $300,000 max. This will also depend on the source of funding. The maximum may value according to which source of funding we would like to use for your project. But the process is having an idea, connecting with your NDE, getting the approval and the endorsement of your NDE, preparing the request, sending it to the CTCN. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadesh. We have a hand raised from Cecilia. Please, Cecilia, feel free to ask your question.
Morning, and thank you so much for this. It's been very helpful. I'm not sure in particular who the question goes to. CDR, biochar, it's neither, we can combine it with CCUS on the building side, or it can also be nature-based solution, because we're looking at how do we take biochar as an adsorbent, look at it in terms of absorption of heavy metals, and looking at that in the farm scale, and also integration on cement, biochar cement production. So, and then testing on what not only effects on humans of lead and nickel, but also effects on earthworms. And so how does one then, it's kind of crossing all spectrums. What would be the best way to put something like that together?
Colleagues, do you have any answer to that?
Okay, I will jump in. Then I think when it comes to piloting or doing a feasibility analysis on a technology, everything depends of what are the main results, or what are the main purposes that the country wants to achieve through this pre-feasibility or piloting of the technology. So in the case of biochar, for example, we had quite a lot of discussions, pre-discussions, with both the country, Côte d'Ivoire, and in that case, it was a pro bono project, so it was funded by a technology provider from South Korea, so also communication between the country and the provider. And I remember that we had a lot of discussions were very on the feasibility of using biochar in Côte d'Ivoire, because in Côte d'Ivoire, the waste, for example, is not always recycled or separated according to the needs that would be requested to generate biochar. No, so most of the discussions were had to be aligned according to, okay, the country wanted to test biochar, okay, but before moving to piloting or testing of the technology, first probably we need to make sure that you have the enabling environment that will enable this technology to operate. And in the case of Côte d'Ivoire, very basic specificities and necessities of the technology were not available on the ground. So this separation of waste, etc., needed to be done before the technology could be tested and implemented. So I think, and then to your question, how do you make sure that this enters into building, or this enters into or should be considered as waste, or should be considered? I think the CTCN has system of transformations. We have to work on, as you know, we have to work on building and infrastructure. We need to work on energy system. We need to work on e-mobility. We need to work on water, energy, food, and we need to work on, I'm missing one, on industries. So is biochar entering into industries, or is entering into building? I think it will depend a little bit of the scale of the project, and probably of the main results that we want to achieve with this technology. Are these going to be used for an industrial, or is this going to be used for recycling the waste of the community? And according to this, I think it will enter into one of the other. I'm sure this answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you. That was helpful.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nadesh, for answering that. We also have another question in the Q&A chat from Raduan, and they ask, does CTCN have a fast-track process for project funding or technical assistance for urgent national projects?
So no, we don't have a fast track, but the CTCN is relatively fast in comparison with other financial mechanisms. If you compare us to Green Climate Fund, for example, we are extremely fast. The process, there is no real fast track Everything depends a bit of the country as well. You know, it's a country-driven process, and we really need to make sure that there is country ownership. So everything depends a lot of the country ownership. Once we receive a request and the request has been cleared and has been prioritized by the CTCN, which, as I said, does not take longer than 2 weeks, because these are the timelines that we have. When we receive a request, we need to confirm whether it is prioritized or not within 2 weeks. Then the definition of a term of references depends a lot on this country ownership and on the maturity of the idea at country level. So sometimes the idea is extremely mature, and we have in the first call all the ministries that need to be involved, as well as the focal point of the Adaptation Fund, the focal point of the Green Climate Fund, the focal point of the EU delegation, for example, and everyone is there in the first meeting, and it goes very fast because it has been pre-discussed. And everybody is aligned, and you know, everybody endorsed the project. And sometimes it takes longer to define this term of references because the idea is less mature, and we need to talk with many stakeholders and many more people and organize much more meetings. But once the response plan is approved, then we move to bidding process. The bidding process takes, let's say, 8 to a year in average, and then we start implementation. So between the moment you submit a request and the start of the implementation, base case scenario, you will have 1 year. Worst case scenario, maybe it can take 2 years if really this response plan process is heavy in resources and time.
Thank you, Nadesh, for addressing that. If you have any other questions, we still have some time. Please feel free to raise your hands. In the meantime, I'll just address a question in the chat where Hamid was asking if we will share the presentation. So yes, after this session, we will share the recordings from the webinars as well as the presentation that was shared here today on our website, and we will definitely share the links with all the participants today. Let's see if we have another question. We have a question from Snow Cine. How does hydroponic farming help address food sustainability with a larger population endangered by drought and desertification in northern Nigeria? Can some of the colleagues please address that?
Yes, I think this one was probably for me. Well, actually, I think it has demonstrated to work pretty well. The video that we've seen was on Cameroon, but we do have a video on this one on hydroponics. So maybe we can share the link afterwards. I think it has, at least at very small scale, demonstrated that it could have, and I think it's one of the technology that can very easily be scaled up because, as we said, the materials that you need to build an hydroponic is available in Nigeria. So you don't need to have exports or imports or to discuss with customs, or everything is available in Nigeria. Then you can very customize the size of the hydroponic that you need according to the size of the technology. Of course, we will have an impact on the energy that you need to produce, the solar energy that you need to produce, as well as on the water that you need to have. But as hydroponic functions as a closed system, at the end, I think it can very easily be scaled up. It's not difficult to understand how it works. So the training process is quite fast because it's intuitive. And you can involve both women and youth because you don't require a specific strength to operate an hydroponic system. So I think it has a lot of checks so to make this technology very replicable, both in Nigeria as well as in other contexts, in conflict or not in conflict countries.
Thanks again, Nadesh. We have another question, this time from DI Lab. How are the involved stakeholders, except NDE or technological provider, for each TA decided? Is there a standard set of organizations that are usually involved to make the TOR or pre-discussions more streamlined?
So the term of references are developed, drafted by the CTCN, the team of the CTCN, by the expert. We have a team of which we call the technical assistance team. We are, I think, 8 of us, and with different backgrounds. And the term of references are drafted by us based, of course, on the request that was submitted, on the preliminary discussions that would have been taken between the project proponent. What we call the project proponent is the beneficiary, is the entity that has submitted the request, as well as, of course, the NDE, as well as, of course, any other very key stakeholders that needs to be involved. Sometimes these stakeholders include universities, sometimes they include other ministries. For example, if it is an agriculture project, probably you want to involve the Ministry of Water as well, and probably if it is a cross-cutting project, you need to involve the Ministry of Energy, for example. But we don't usually request support from external parties to develop this term of references. It can happen maybe from time to time that we have very specific technologies on which none of the team has very concrete knowledge, and then we will maybe reach outside the CTCN. Maybe we will start with UNEP colleagues that are working in a very broad range of technologies, including from e-sustainability to ecosystem-based solutions, for example. So we will probably start with UN colleagues that will maybe drive us to discuss with other entities. But most of the time, the term of references are developed in-house with the support and in consultations with the country, the direct beneficiaries, the project proponent, the NDE, for example, in the case of projects funded by the Adaptation Fund or project funded by the EU, of course, these delegations are also invited to provide comments. If it is a project that has a very strong chance of being scaled up through the Green Climate Fund, for example. Of course, the Green Climate Fund is involved from the design stage. So it depends a bit of the nature of the project, but most of the time the term references are developed in-house, and if it's not developed in-house, it is with the support of other UN agencies most of the time.
Thank you. Anyone else has any other questions? We still have 3 minutes that were initially dedicated for the Q&A, so please take the opportunity and don't shy away from raising the hands or typing your question in the comment section. In the meantime, is there anything else from our colleagues, Robinson, Hoyong, and Nadesh, that you would like to share? But we have a hand raise from Snosini, so please feel free to ask your question.
Good evening from Indonesia. My question is that in developing this hydroponic farming system, do you people engage in farmers to ensure their crops in case of area that experience flooding? Or is there no any mitigation system like parametric crop insurance that will be deployed by your CTC, by your company, your organization?
Yes, that's a very interesting question, and actually, insurances is growing quite a lot in the number of requests that we are receiving, and indeed, we will start working on this. We have received the first on insurances for crops related to climate change, so how to protect the farmers related to climate change. And with a climate change insurance policy or something like this. So we have worked on this and recently closed a project in Thailand. It was on the use of blockchain technology to support these insurances processes and climate change insurances to farmers, etc. So this, I think most of the deliverables and most of the results of the study should be already available on CTCN webpage. We will be starting to work with Burundi in defining the first climate change insurance policy of the country very soon. We have received a request, it has been prioritized, and we are moving ahead. We have received as well a couple of weeks ago, maybe last week, the same kind of request come from Ghana, because we have worked with Ghana in the past 2 years in defining business models so that smallholder farmers could pay to get access to solar irrigation pumping system. And now they are asking us whether if we add an insurance policy on the top of this business model, maybe it can also support the farmers in lowering their risk to the banking institutions, and so having better conditions as well. So we are analyzing this project as well. So insurances has been growing quite a lot in the recent years, and I know that UNEP has also a very nice project that has been quite successful very recently, one in Uganda on the banana supply chain, for banana value chain, for example. So yes, we are not, I cannot say that we are very, very experienced at this stage, but we will get more and more experience because the countries are requesting support from us on this aspect, yes.
Thank you very much, Nadesh. And with that, we are closing our Q&A session for today's webinar. And now we will move to the end of today's session. So I am pleased to welcome Mr. Stephen Minas, the chair of the CTCN Advisory Board, to share his closing remarks.
Thanks very much, Tantan, and hello everybody, dear colleagues. My role here is simply to thank everyone for their participation and to offer some final reflections on today's webinar. So first of all, thank you to all participants, to everyone who have asked questions, come along and taken in the material, contributed comments. And of course, all of the presenters, both from the CTCN and also the UNFCCC Secretariat, who have given of your knowledge and also answered a lot of very interesting questions, as it turned out in this session. So that this has been an excellent exchange, and I do thank everyone for your active participation. So we have explored in this 90-minute period the work of collaborative RD&D, certainly within the framework of the CTCN, but also what technology products have to suggest about this area of work. We've seen that in the case of the CTCN, there is a dedicated collaborative RD&D strategy, which is currently being rolled out, and also very significant elements of collaborative RD&D in the various technical assistance projects that were presented. A number of them in the PowerPoint, such as the Ocean Energy in Papua New Guinea project and others. But as people say, a picture paints 1,000 words, and I think the videos we saw about the projects on Seneco culture and also the mangroves really illustrate to us the potential for collaborative RD&D to strengthen community economies and ultimately strengthen communities whilst also contributing to meeting climate objectives. So addressing local needs whilst contributing to climate goals. And then, of course, the various dedicated collaborative RD&D activities that the CTCN is rolling out that were presented also earlier today. So I think we can see here that working together from research to demonstration is really about helping developing countries to be co-creators of innovation, which is something that the CTCN now has a decade plus track record at, but also we are very much a party and country-led process, and we do rely on the active engagement of NDEs and others in country. So thank you very much everyone for your participation today, and I look forward to this continuing collaboration between the CTCN and its partners on collaborative RD&D. Thank you very much, and back to you, Tantan.
Thank you so much, Stephen, for your closing remarks. And with that, on behalf of the CTCN Secretariat, I also thank you very much for your engagement and listening and hearing our presentations today on the collaborative RD&D. And we look forward to stay connected with all of you. And yes, with that, we conclude today's webinar. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Tatan. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.